We start off with a kooky driver speeding through the woods with Greg and Wirt in the carriage. Eventually, he makes a sharp turn, throwing Beatrice, Greg, Wirt, and a duck onto the front lawn of a tavern. They decide to go in and ask for directions. Beatrice gets thrown out of the tavern.
Wirt finally manages to get these people to give him directions to Adelaide.
It looks like Beatrice has been knocked out by the woodsman, who Wirt promptly beats up. And the episode ends with them riding off deeper into the unknown. Hey everybody, and welcome to Over the Garden Wall, Chapter 5.
Well, would you look at that? We're officially halfway done with this series. Man, time flies when you only have 10 episodes.
So let's get going. We open up with Wirt, Greg, Beatrice, and Fred inside of some crazy old guy named Quincy's house. And apparently, he sells health tea and thinks that Wirt and Greg are his nephews. Just don't ask any questions, just go with it.
So apparently, the group came here to steal some of this guy's money, so they can pay to get to Adelaide. Man, this Adelaide seems like quite the scam artist. Who does she think she is? Making them run around and waste time just to find her, and then making them pay so much money that they need to raid a guy's mansion just to get some.
If we're going to Adelaide's, we need 2 cents.
Well, that makes sense.
As the episode goes on, it becomes really clear that Quincy here has lost it. He rambles on about nothing, and changes the subject completely at random. When the group is in the parlor, he starts talking about falling in love with a woman in a portrait, who he thinks is a ghost. And just as the episode starts to turn creepy, we get a silly gag, and the mood just drops.
So Greg, Quincy, and Fred go to do a ghost hunt in the house. As soon as they are gone, Beatrice and Wirt begin to look for money in the house. They aren't finding much, but they are breaking everything. And then, when they hear footsteps, they think that the group is coming back and hide inside of an armoire. Turns out, it was just a peacock pecking out a window. Good job.
Gee guys, you sure are breaking a lot of expensive objects just to find 2 cents. I don't know, this plan looks like a bust.
So Fred, Greg, and Quincy continue down the hallway, and Quincy is quite nervous. He's beginning to worry that the ghost isn't real, and that the doctors were right, and he's insane. Greg reassures him, and they continue down the hall. Fred also briefly tries to convince them not to go back to the parlor, since everything is shattered there. That would really break apart their plan.
Meanwhile, Wirt and Beatrice begin talking to each other in the armoire, and, as it turns out, Beatrice was actually a human, and the show just drops that idea in out of nowhere like it's nothing, which is kind of neat because you aren't expecting a revelation like this. And after that little bomb gets dropped, the scene ends on a funny line just in time to make the audience crack up.
So, Quincy, as the group continues to wander around the mansion, stalls and says that maybe they should enjoy the quiet tranquility of his garden. They stand there for a moment, and out of nowhere, a peacock, for no good reason, just jumps through a window and screams at Quincy. He runs, leaping behind a bush. And we're not just talking like a little hop, skip, and a jump to this bush. No, we're talking like diving off of a high dive here, like tuck and roll business, alright? Bring him to the Olympics. And after that wonderful show, Greg, somehow, within the past 5 seconds, has earned enough trust from that bird to be able to have his arm around its neck. And he tells Quincy to calm down, it's just a funny chicken. Kinda like him.
Okay, time for the sweet moment. Wirt eventually gets Beatrice to reveal that after she threw a rock at a bluebird, her whole family was turned into them thanks to some curse. Then, Wirt tells his secrets, which, for the most part, are just things he does that make him unique, which is actually a pretty nice bit of characterization for him. He's just so insecure about himself that he can't even admit to doing random hobbies. That's actually a thing that real people do. Treat their little quirks like deep, embarrassing secrets.
Wirt, that stuff's not weird. Those are just, well, the poetry thing is weird.
Shut up! And when Beatrice asks what else he does, Wirt responds in exactly the way that people like him tend to respond when asked about their free time.
What else do you do?
I don't know.
So, Wirt, looking around the room that they've just come into, comments that it's been done in a more French style than Quincy's tastes. Beatrice is confused and says that Quincy probably just built it without thinking. Wirt disagrees, saying that what if the ghost that Quincy was talking about was actually a... Oh, no? Oh, okay. I guess we're just not going to get to know that then. Okay. Thanks for watching. It's the end of the episode. Goodbye.
A horse is a horse, of course, and no one can talk to a horse, of course. That is, of course, unless the horse is the famous Mr. Fred.
Wait. Okay, we can't just end this yet. So Team Quincy enters the room where the portrait hangs, and Quincy seems rather creeped out. We also see some tables turned over, which is strange, and it leads Fred to believe that Quincy killed the lady of the house and is pretending to own the mansion. Yeah, much like in previous episodes, we suddenly realize that a seemingly benign figure is somehow actually dangerous.
But nope! The woman walks in and they both faint. They get coaxed awake by Wirt and Greg shortly after, and immediately start dating because that's how love works. Oh, yeah, and apparently they're business competitors, and yeah, being business competitors is definitely a good reason to kiss and date and whatever. Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. This show is the most logical show ever to show.
Wait, don't most companies have rules against kissing the competition? Oh, never mind. This show is weird enough, so I'd buy it.
So, after all of that, each one of them gives Greg a penny, making it so he has 2 pennies, enough for them to ride the ferry. And you want to know what this kid does with those 2 pennies? Tosses them into a fountain. He tosses the pennies into a fountain, and a fish eats them. And when asked why would he ever do such a thing? It's because apparently Quincy pegged him all wrong.
Uncle Endicott pegged me all wrong. I've got no sense. No sense at all.
Wow. This show has gotten to a whole other level of weird.
Well, this may have been an incredibly bizarre 11 minutes, but I did learn one thing. A fool and his money are soon parted, except when that fool's name is Quincy.
And that's the episode. As always, Over the Garden Wall is Over the Garden Wall. It's fun, it's spontaneous, goes in and out of being creepy and not creepy, and the animation looks really good. I'd give this episode a 3 out of 5.
This was a weird episode. Maybe the weirdest episode out of them all. I'm honestly not sure how to feel about it. On one hand, we get some really funny moments, and some character development for Wirt, and also kind of Beatrice. But on the other hand, the constant shifts in tone can be a bit hard to keep up with at times, and much like episode 2, some of the craziness of the episode is minimized once you know what's actually going on. I'll say this episode is at least decent, but not much else beyond that. I'm a little conflicted on this one.
So thank you one and all for watching. We hope to see you in the next one. Bye!
Tell me why I love you like I do. Tell me who can stop my heart as much as you. Tell me all your secrets and I'll tell you most of mine. They say nobody's perfect, but that's really true this time. I don't have the answers, I don't have a plan. I'm mad about you, baby.